Oh.
That's good. I'm turning mine on.
Okay. Cool. It looks like we're all live. Awesome.
Does it?
I think
I mean,
so.
that sounds right. That sounds. Yep.
Share chat.
Hello, Twitch chat.
I have lo-fi on today, which I've surprisingly never done before.
Lo-fi's great.
Yeah.
Hi, Jay. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be learning the King's Indian Defense. We're going to be learning by doing. So, yeah, folks can follow along and learn some King's Indian too, or just see how we learn an opening and see if it's something that you can use on whatever opening you're interested in.
Yeah. Hopefully it's instructive because Rachel and I probably have the most experience in this against each other out of anything.
Yeah.
I feel like we can get deep into it.
I mean, yeah, your specific line.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Like, if you play something else, I'm like, yeah.
Well, okay, the only other thing I've ever played against this is, like, when I was 600, I would play the Jabava London. And I would do, like, the 150 attack.
I actually don't know what to play against the Jabava London, actually. But
you can do anything. Just play normal moves and you'll be fine as black. And then
yeah,
you just have a game.
I have... Yeah, online, I think I got it for the first time, like, this year online.
What?
Playing against the Jabava London. I'm not really sure how that's possible. Oh. But
wow.
I think I said on my stream, I was like, I think this is my first time playing against the Jabava London. And then I got the little award on chess.com right after. Like, played that's against crazy. The Jabava London. Yeah, I was like, wow, I can't believe I've never gotten a game before that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how that's possible. But yeah.
It used to be the only thing I played.
Damn. I've heard it's very controversial.
It's whatever. It's a good opening for beginners, I think. Especially, like, if you, I don't know, I just watch, like, Gotham Chess and, like, Alex Banzia videos. And then, like, yeah, I feel like those, I don't know, the way that Banzia explains things, for someone who doesn't know anything about chess, it is kind of helpful. It teaches you, like, a little bit about the point of the middle game.
Yeah, I've never seen an Alex Banzia, so I'll need to...
Yeah.
I think he made the Silman's course on Chessable, though, and I have that. So.
Oh. Interesting.
But I've never... I just, like, look through it, like, you know, not video form.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Houseline.
Where's Matt? Matt, get in the stream. Where are you?
Yeah.
What's going on, man? You slacking. Just kidding. I didn't know. What? I'm pretty sure Matt's in the group chat.
Wasn't it Endgame Sensei?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it
yeah.
Yeah, he's
Isn't
in the
he
group
an
chat.
Endgame Sensei? Yeah.
You did only at me.
Oh. Me? Oh, well, okay. I thought it was like common knowledge that everyone was invited to these, and also it was because Anushka usually has work at this time, so I added her to make sure she was available.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes.
It's always implied that Matt is added as well.
It's okay. I saw you guys sparring at one point, and I was like, I'm awake.
Yeah, everyone is always...
It's okay. Sparring is a 2-person thing. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a little tricky to spar as 3 all the time.
Yeah. You're doing all your life admin. I've been doing everything but my life stuff. Just pushing it all away.
Yeah, I keep procrastinating.
Actually, that's not true. I did my laundry.
The only 2 things guaranteed in life: death and taxes.
And laundry.
And chess.
And more dishes. And all this buttoning and unbuttoning.
Washing and ironing. That sounds nice. Ironing takes and it takes. Oh no, I hung my knight. Can we restart?
Is that you? I don't know what's
Yeah,
going on.
probably. Hopefully I don't. Yeah. But I'm currently looking at Kostia's King's Indian lines, so I at least have you played that same line, and maybe I know what to do this time.
I'm stress free. Actually, maybe I should. It's when David said like he's gonna be making us play both sides of it. Like part of my heart was like actually like upset. I was like, I don't deserve to have to play a King's Indian position. I play the Grunfeld. I don't deserve this. But it's fine. I'll play it.
Yeah.
Well, the King's Indian is just so hard. It's just,
yeah, it is.
That's why I'm like, yeah, Grunfeld seems like more intuitive a little bit, but I don't know. Maybe it's good. It's just so different from all the other openings I play. I feel like Grunfeld's more in style, but maybe or like more in line with other openings. But maybe that's a reason to play the King's Indian because
Maybe at one point I should learn it so I have experience with those types of positions.
There's occasionally a little bit of overlap between them. But the main reason that you're flipping sides, and so this is an important point for anyone out there who practices their openings by sparring them. But the main reason that you're flipping sides, even if, let's say, you're a Sicilian player and your opponent's an E4 player, and they don't play the Sicilian and you don't play E4, why would I still say in opening sparring you want to flip sides repeatedly? Because it's very useful to see the other side. There's this old trick where they say like, oh, get up, walk around, behind your opponent, look at the board from their side for a moment, and suddenly, you might see or understand something different. And for some people, that is helpful. Now, in a tournament, it's very weird to have somebody standing over your shoulder looking at your game, right? So it's a little bit very weird to do that, despite the advice around it. But in sparring, you can definitely do it very easily. Just switch colors and see both sides. And then the other thing is, the player who's less experienced on some particular opening, with fresher eyes, they can sometimes provide some kind of cool idea or some different perspective, essentially, in the way they play it. So when Anushka plays the King's Indian defense, she might do something that Rachel wouldn't have thought of, and that Rachel says, hey, whoa, that's like another thing I could do in my opening, right? And likewise, Rachel might do something from the D4 side where Anushka says, hey, actually, why do I never do that? Like, that looks, pretty good. And also, simply, you get into this match where you're playing games back and forth against each other, and sometimes you play something and your opponent's like, oh, it's so devastating, I had no chances after they did that. But you thought you saw defenses. You were just playing a move, right? And so if you flip back and forth, you can sort of show each other what really was or wasn't dangerous. So very, 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 very useful in so many ways, actually.
Yeah.
That's
Matt's saying the same thing in the chat, too. Yeah.
Yeah, we sparred the Catalan, and I guess we sparred it with Kostia. We didn't switch sides, but when we did the classroom, Matt did the classroom, and it was only like we were only looking at it from Black's perspective, and I was like, oh, like I looked at so much Catalan theory, and I never once thought about what it must feel like to be Black in this position, like what they must be wanting to do, and like, like they just want to break out. I didn't realize. I just thought everyone was playing theory because I was playing theory.
Yeah. Yeah, very good to know what they're feeling like. Because, it can also give you a sense of, like, they're probably desperate to play this move, right? Suddenly you just know what move you need to calculate for the opponent, right? Like, they're looking at c5 here, or they're looking at knight a5 because they want to then move their c-pawn. Yeah. All right, well, I think that's all my words of wisdom for now. So whenever you feel like starting a game, you can start a game, and
Okay. Sounds good. Let's do it.
So 1 + 0?
Okay. 5 + 5.
We can do 5 + 5.
Okay. I'm ready.
I just got jump scared. Sorry. Oh. I did not get jump scared. Fine. I sent it as a like either black or white challenge.
Okay. Well, I have no clue
Oh
how to play your opening, but we can play an Alpin.
no, just play it. Just go d4.
Okay. I think I know how to play your Averbach, kind of.
Isn't
Let's
that what
see.
we're doing?
Yeah. I think I remember it.
Rachel, you can literally play whatever move you feel like from here. You don't have to play the exact line that Anushka plays.
Okay.
We're in the
It's
King's
true.
Indian, so.
I did just look at the line that she normally plays. So
Yeah, my line is also the best line, so you can make your own decision.
I didn't even know there was one best line.
Wow. What was the move here?
It's bishop g5 is what I play, but you can play something else.
Oh yeah, you do play that, huh?
Yeah. You could probably play g4 or h4 too.
Yeah. h3. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I guess I will steal Anushka's line. Yeah, that's it. Didn't Coach just show us a game like this?
Yeah, this is
Wait,
the
this
exact game that we played.
Well, but this
Yeah.
is bad for white, right? This is the game that was good for black.
No, because the point was that you have to if the knight can go to g4, then h6 is good. But right now, that's why I think he said that's why you play bishop e2 before bishop g5. So that way h6 doesn't come with knight g4. I'm pretty sure.
Now you have to play f3 and then I can play knight h5, right?
I can also play queen c2.
That's true. Oh yeah, queen c2 is the better move.
I don't even see why white couldn't play h5. I think there's probably a lot of possibilities around here. And maybe when we've played more games and we're quote unquote better at this particular position, we'll feel like, oh, there's only one move that's the best move. But when you're playing your first couple of games here, because for you, by switching colors, you're kind of playing your first games in a sense in this position. You can feel a lot of freedom that you don't know what's right, so you can do anything. So chat, I was calculating that if white had played h5, leaving the e pawn hanging, and black took on e4 twice, then after h takes g6, f takes g6, the h6 pawn would be hanging. There'd be the idea of bishop d3 trying to get to g6. So it looked messy.
Yeah. Maybe next time we can try that.
I don't super know what I'm doing now.
Hi, Akun. As far as teaching you,
Can I do this? I don't know.
Hopefully there's something to be learned from this stream, and listen and enjoy. Hey, chess.com, thank you for rating us. This is opening sparring. This is opening sparring. It's a big part of how I train my chess and always have. I learn openings, middle games, and end games via sparring, which is here we've got Anushka and Rachel who are doing the sparring, and basically they're going to play against each other back and forth in the King's Indian defense while getting better and better at playing the King's Indian defense. So welcome in, come check it out. Very useful training method you can observe. Whether or not you play the King's Indian, you can apply this training method to whatever opening you prefer. So they're playing 5-minute games here, which is going to let them get in a good number of games and get a feel for the opening. And Anushka and Rachel, I think I'll mute my mic at this point so I can comment freely about
Sure.
the
Should we
evaluation.
all mute? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Bye.
Yeah, so we've got a good
Bye.
question here from Houseline, who's asking, are they playing the whole game or just stopping after X moves? Broadly speaking, or precisely speaking, there are two ways of doing opening sparring. One is you play out entire games, getting a feel for a new opening. And another approach is you just play till move 15, then you evaluate, you say who's got a better position, and boom, you can restart another game, and you can get in more reps on the opening moves. And I think we're going to start off with playing full games here. Yeah. What was the show on chess.com today? What's the big chess event this week? Women's Speed Chess Championships. Cool. Polina beat Alice Lee. Okay. Both good players. I lost a match to Shuvalova myself quite brutally in the same format. All right, so Anushka grabs the pawn on e4, and not sure what Rachel was doing hanging that pawn. Let's have a quick look. I was looking at chat for a moment there. So here she undefends her e-pawn, but threatens knight c7. Anushka defends c7. She plays rook d1 to prevent c6, because then she'll have pawn takes c6, and the knight can come into d6. But just hanging that pawn, so that's going to be essentially a winning position for black at this point. No, I never won the IMSCC, Toto. I never even won a match in the IMSCC. Cade, we had our audio on for the first few moves together, but I wasn't telling them what I thought of the position while we had the shared audio. H5 looking to create some kind of weakness in black's light squares, but black should just be just fine with this extra pawn. I mean, once f5 gets played, white's going to be just squished in this area here under the weight of that trio of black pawns. I'm not muted. Oops. How did that happen? My apologies.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry. That must be distracting.
It's okay.
This is really funny. That was really funny.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm not really doing... I just hung e4, so...
We're talking
You
about
know.
the position back and forth anyway, so it's...
Together, the two of you?
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, I
Rachel
mean,
was
this
like,
is
yeah, I
just
don't know what to do
trash,
about the pawn, and I
because-
was like, oh, I didn't even realize it was hanging, and then you were like, I'm not sure what Rachel's doing hanging the pawn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I need to do something with this. I don't know, but...
I'd been considering quote-unquote unmuting myself
Oh.
to tell you that if you wanted to, when something disastrous like this happens in the first few moves, you can just, let that game go and start the next game, because it's really clear that the opening has gone black's way.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair.
Okay.
Fair. Well, so now I'm going to be white.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Man, I was just sitting there with the wrong button clicked like Uncle Jesse.
Whew. Okay, I guess we're muting.
Okay.
See ya.
All right, so now each of them is going to be a little bit more comfortable in this game here, because this is the side of the opening that they normally play. Rachel's the one who plays the King's Indian defense. Anushka's the one who plays 1d4. Rachel plays 1e4, and she plays the Grunfeld. So they're each playing an opening they play half the time, and then playing the opponent's opening half the time. We explained at the top of the show that that's very useful for a variety of reasons. seeing the other person's, seeing the perspective of your opponents, right? Seeing the other side of the board. Also, the player who doesn't play the opening, on average, they're going to play the opening worse than you. But here and there, they're going to come up with some fresh ideas because they've got fresh eyes. See what I mean? So, Anushka, who's not used to playing the King's Indian, on average, she'll play the King's Indian and the black games worse than Rachel will. Right? Because she doesn't have the experience. But every now and then, she'll do something new and cool and freeing that Rachel wouldn't do, because your experience makes you better, but it also gives you some like blind spots and some paths that you're just used to going down unquestioningly. And then a fresh set of eyes will find some cool new ideas for you. So, question from Skibix basically, is white considering trading this dark squared bishop when this main white pawn structure is all on light squares and white's dark squares will become weak? I think generally not, Skibix. I think generally not. I think we only go bishop h6 if we...
Did you want to play a5 first?
If we can already smell a checkmate coming.
Yeah, maybe a5 was the move here.
Well, that's what you would normally play. So I don't know if that was a mistake or if you want to try this. Because, I mean, this is still fine.
Yeah, we could try it. I mean, I know at some point there's like some kind of knight takes e4 thing. Obviously, it doesn't work right now. I think. Yeah, I think I just messed up.
It's been a little while.
I don't really see a thing to do here.
I had taken a week of vacation, so...
Huh. Yeah, I think I need to play a5, I guess.
So you see, they're saying maybe last move
really
black needed to play a5 to keep the knight here before playing c6. Now the knight basically gets kicked back. White's going to have to spend a tempo on a3, and then the knight on a6 is going to be pretty miserable, so black's going to have to do something to take advantage of the time white spent on a3 before.
I guess. I mean, we could keep playing, but...
We don't have to if you don't want to.
I mean...
Why don't you play a few moves to get a sense of how much this matters?
Okay.
I've had stuff like this happen to me, and...
Okay, I'm going to auto-resign, so let's just move this.
And then, I thought, oh gosh, I allowed this b4 at the wrong time, and then the evaluation was not at all as clear as I suspected or worried it was. So I'm curious to see what will come of this. g4 from Anushka. So she's definitely allowing black to play an a5 move when she can't really play a3 because the rook on a1's hanging, which would let the black knight come back out to c5. So she's not trying to cement the gains on the queen side. She's just going for her g4, h4 kingside push. So I'd expect a5. I think the reason Anushka thought for a while is because she was considering knight d5, which is, with the bishop on g5, d6 pawn backward. It's certainly reasonable, but it'd be more reasonable if white's knight were developed and the king were castled somewhere, right? With no development, it's hard to settle in and play on this d file here. So she decides to keep the more locked, clamped position here with cd5 and keep going with this plan here. Queen b6, odd move from Rachel. I think a5 is a really desirable move here for black. Now she goes for it here. I guess the early queen b6 does have this advantage that the knight can move and respond to various things. For example, if white played h4, black could play h5, blocking that pawn. And on g takes h5, you can recapture with your knight, which is much more desirable than g takes h5, right? In fact, let's just show the idea. Obviously, the b4 pawn's hanging, so white can't play h5 here, but just to show you, right? If gh is basically lost because white can just go after this file. But knight h5 is often a very, very robust blockade of the king side, like so. You can keep most of it closed often. So that's a very, very big difference. That's a benefit of having the king out from here. Okay, knight a4 played. Now I could see the move queen d4 coming in, but this is kind of the extra move that black's allowed by playing queen b6 so early, right? The extra move they've allowed for black, for themselves, is this resource of h5. But for white, you've allowed this knight a4, and you got to pick where to go, and this is keeping your knight from coming to c5 as easily, perhaps. And, you know, there's reasons to trade queens and reasons to keep the queens on. Yes, Cubics, white could also have just played h4, h5 with the pawn on g2. That was perfectly reasonable to try as well. With the idea if black plays h5, then you play g4 and try and trade pawns there. So a queen trade. I mean, both kings could be in danger this game, so it's not clear who is escaping more danger with a queen trade, yeah? Because white obviously wants to checkmate black's king with h4, h5. But, you know, black's counterplay could also revolve around the fact that white's king's in the middle of the board. So, tough choice, but she goes for it. I mean, it felt like kind of cramped to retreat the queen, you know? So I just kept looking at queen d4, and she eventually did too. And the pawn structure is terrible, but the bishop is pumped. So, we'll see how it plays out. This was what I would think to do with black. It cuts off this knight's most normal retreat. So now this knight's best square, something like knight b2 to c4 or d3. This knight's probably coming to e5. Maybe white will play knight b6 and trade the knight then. I guess to me, white really needs to do something about these pieces strategically, these kingside pieces. And then tactically, they need to make sure that they're cool on the a file. Right? Because black could play a4, maybe knight b6 if it were black's move here, taking advantage of the lineup, the hidden attack between the rooks. So white needs a move that doesn't get hurt by that. So what do white do? b5 to avoid the trade. And black comes quickly with knight e5. So this is white's opportunity to play knight b6 if they want to, and sort of trade that knight. Also, I mean, it's a pretty lame tempo for black to play rook here. You could always leave the knight on b6 for a while. So yeah, knight b6 is a perfectly good move. But we still have the question what this piece is supposed to do. And it's hard to say. Knight h3 to f2 maybe? Rook d1. So the idea is to stop black from playing d3 by defending that square. Aggressive move from black. White could consider trading on e5, right? It kills a lot of the dynamism in the game. Leaves the bishop on g7 clunky for a while, but it'll come out through f8, so it won't be a dead piece. So white keeps that bishop. Wow, Rachel's fighting on that king side pretty violently. She would love to play rook c8, but this knight's actually really putting a damper on that plan. A Anushka just holds everything together. We're far away from the white pieces for this white knight specifically getting into the game and out of the way of the other pieces. But okay, Rachel grabs some more space, and now the d-pawn's under fire. So she needs some tactical juice. We're not sure if that threatens anything. Anushka just picks the pawn. She's been chased over here. Now she'll take another pawn. She's collecting them. Looks great for white, right? 2 extra pawns. Seldom seen a knight on G1 win a game so hard. Yeah, when you get this kind of pawn chain, you'll often have a slightly bad light squared bishop, but you've got enough space that it's not usually dead as a piece, right? It's maybe not great, but not dead. And Anushka still doesn't see how to develop, so she just keeps, clamping down on all her advantages here, which makes perfect sense. I think she's going to lock this bishop in. No, she's going for more pawns. She can't get enough. She just can't get enough today. That's a very, very happy pawn grabber you see on your screens there, folks. A most happy pawn grabber.
Yeah, just grab all the pawns and you can't really do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
I guess Queen D4 wasn't so good. I didn't realize B5 was as strong as it was.
Anushka, have you ever made somebody resign with your knight still on G1 before?
I don't know.
Amazing. It was very hard to believe that white was winning with the knight on G1, but slowly I was forced to believe it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the part where you can trade any thoughts about, whose opening was good or bad. Rachel says she thought Queen D4 didn't look so good. Do you agree with her or disagree with her?
Yeah. I guess the pawn is weak and you have some tactic ideas. I thought maybe knight takes e4, f takes e4, d3 was a tactic idea. And then I'd probably just give back the piece for the pawn and put my rook on c1, and then you take my bishop, and then I take back, and then at least your bishop.
Wait, which move was that?
After I play b5.
Knight takes e4.
Yeah.
F takes.
And then d3. And then I'd probably go rook c1, and then d takes e2, and then knight takes e2.
Wait.
Sorry.
Knight takes. So you play b4. I play knight takes e4.
I play b5.
b5.
Yeah.
Or sorry,
knight takes e4. And then f takes e4. D3.
Wait, I play b5?
No.
I play b5.
She played b5 in the game. At move 16.
Oh, okay. This is way. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
She's got a
now you say
suggestion
knight
for
takes
you
e4
to justify Queen D4.
And then f takes e. Are you? Sorry. Knight takes.
Yeah. I'm here.
E4,
okay.
And then d3.
Yeah.
And
D3. Got it. Okay.
C1. Yeah, and then.
Yeah, I didn't see that at all. Yeah, that's nice.
Because this is I would take with the knight, and then at least your bishop's opened up, but then my knight covers some of the dark squares that your bishop has. You have e5, though. It's nice for your knight. And I didn't know what to think. Actually, looking at it now, it doesn't look that great for me, because my g-pawn's really weak, and everything's kind of open.
It's super complicated and hard to know. Because white has 2 resources here as well. Knight b6 and bishop e7. Potentially trapping the rook on a8. While black obviously has bishop takes g4, knight d3, and knight f3 as resources. So super messy, but we can appreciate this much, Rachel, right? Anushka's suggesting a serious move for you with knight e4, right? That's a real King's Indian move.
Yeah, super King's Indian move.
Yeah.
I just like ran out of time and played a bad move that hung all my pawns. So
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah, definitely not what I don't. Yeah, my move was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So at least that is a try.
Yeah, I have a vague feeling that a lot of the time you spend, Rachel, from watching you play some like, sparring games, basically at blitz time controls, and maybe your time usage is very different in classical games, but watching your time usage in sparring games, for what it's worth, and I hope this doesn't hurt or anything, but for what it's worth, in case this might be useful, I feel like a lot of your time is spent on like hesitating around uncertainties rather than figuring out something you want to do.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just, I think it's a lot of hesitation.
Yeah. So, I don't know if that applies at all to your classical games, but I'm sure you could use your time more effectively.
Does. I'm not exactly sure like how to reroute, I guess.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to know when you're kind of spinning and just take a decision. I think in all these cases you already have like an idea of something you can do. You just don't know like how good or bad it is, and so you're hesitating. But you can just go with your first instinct to move if you've been spinning too long.
Okay.
That'd be one way out of it.
Especially in blitz.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes when it happens in classical, and then it's on the scale of 20 minutes instead of 2 minutes, right? If you have that kind of spinning in classical, it's often because we don't quite have the right evaluation. So basically, we've looked at the most logical, like 2 or 3 options, and we're not satisfied with the evaluation at the end of them, so we keep looking for something else, right? But actually, it's not that we're missing some better line, it's that we just have the wrong evaluation to begin with. It's like you think you should be equal, but actually you're slightly worse. And once your brain accepts I'm slightly worse, then you can be like, oh, well, I'll just play this line that's slightly worse. It's the moves that make sense from your position, but the evaluation is not as good as you expect it to be. Sometimes you just have to accept the evaluation and keep going.
Huh. Yeah. You always want to look for better, and then you take your time, and it's hard to know.
Yeah. And there are times when it's really useful to use all that extra time in classical, right? It allows us to come up with some better idea or calculate a critical line. But you just want to make sure that your evaluation is not leading you astray to waste your time at the wrong points, looking for something that isn't there. It's really useful if there is something there and your evaluation is right, and there's something that you haven't found yet, some extra candidate move. Or some extra concept.
It's often not the case, though.
But often not the case, right?
For a while and you just give up.
Like when knight a4 was played, I think you spent quite a bit of time on queen d4 for a blitz game, right? Like you spent a minute on it.
Yeah.
And it does feel like a big, important decision, right? But what else were you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, were you seriously considering any other move, or were you just unsure how good queen d4 was?
Yeah.
It's the latter, right?
I guess that's a good thing to ask. Instead of like, is this good? It's like, well, what else is there?
Right.
And then it's
like, did you have a second candidate move you were considering? Were you really thinking about queen a7, or were you thinking about queen d4 the entire minute?
Yeah. Just think about queen d4. Yeah.
Right. And so if you're only thinking about queen d4, then at some point you just want to cut that off, right?
Right. There's no other possible candidate move, really, I think.
For you, right? Or ask yourself, is there anything else that I might do? And think about queen a7 for 5 seconds. And maybe that will tell you all you need to know. Like suddenly you find, queen a7's fine. Or, and so I can keep thinking. Or like, there's no way I'm playing queen a7. Well, okay. Instead of evaluating the longer, harder to evaluate thing that's your instinct to play it, you look at your alternative, see that it's no alternative at all, and then you just play your main move.
That's a good thought. Yeah.
I think I'm worse after e takes d4. I'm trying to find a move.
The d4 pawn looked really nice. I mean, h6 was not the follow-up, but I thought that the d4 pawn was pretty nice looking. and
Okay,
then
I
bishop
don't think the
opens up.
d4 pawn is nice, but I
Oh.
think my queen side is so weak, and I'm so undeveloped on the king side that like if I don't do something right now, then you're gonna take on b4, and then my knight's pinned, and then you can go knight b6, and then my knight is like falling basically,
Yeah.
and if I don't take care of this knight e4 threat, then what am I doing?
It seems like you maybe needed to play b5. Now, the possibility of knight e4 is very hard to evaluate. I don't know who that's good for. But Rachel has, a couple other moves that are interesting as well. Rook e8 and knight c5. I think the move h6, she's right. It's not a good move. It just improves your bishop, probably.
Yeah.
It doesn't
And
really
D6
help
is
black
hanging,
much.
it is.
And certainly I didn't like g5, which I think came really soon after.
Yeah, G5, it was just,
Yeah, it was just not really knowing what you wanted to do. But, yeah, the move rook e8 is an interesting move because it sort of pseudo-threatens knight takes d5, followed by d3. And it gets out of the way of bishop e7, so it makes various knight moves better. And you also have an interesting idea of knight c5, the point of which is just to, trade that knight and be able to keep developing on the queen side. There's a few interesting ideas.
Can I go long castles after rook e8?
Maybe. Let's see. Rook e8. Long castles.
Because my bishop is defended.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks kind of dumb because the c file's open, but at least there's no queens.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it looks fine.
Otherwise, I mean, knight e4 just looks like an endgame that I like really don't want to play. After knight e5, maybe g3 or h3, and then I guess I'm threatening. Then maybe rook e8. I don't know. I hate this. Oh, but then knight b6. Maybe it's not so bad.
Yeah, it's very hard to know because it's such a long tactical line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, that was interesting. So we had knight c5 allowing b4. Right? Because we didn't play a5 right after knight c5. But
yeah, that's good to know.
It was not obvious that white was crushing because of it, right? Like white got to play b4 and then you played a5 and it wasn't so obvious. And the queen trade on d4, I would currently call the evaluation unclear, meaning I don't yet know what the evaluation is.
Yeah.
With queen d4.
And then h6 is just worse, I think, after that.
Yeah, a couple moves later, you're probably worse. But initially with queen d4, I don't know. I could believe that either side's much better or that it's close to equal. I really don't know.
Feels like that's a common thing in the King's Indian. It's just chaos and things are everywhere, but someone's maybe winning.
Yeah. All right, let's do some more.
Okay.
All right. I just say you a rematch.
Okay.
And then I will mute.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, back into the King's Indian. Bishop e2, bishop g5 again. The idea is partly to run this h-pawn at black and mess with their pawn structure in the area where they want to be strongest, and later play, f5 and e5 and a whole pawn storm over there. The other idea is that when black plays e5, sometimes the knight on f6 being lined up by the bishop keeps black from fighting in the center the way they're used to. I believe it's called the Averback, but I'm not a master of names, but I think I heard Anushka say that this was the Averback. So she tries a different approach to this game, c5 instead of an e5 variation. So white keeps the center locked. And now it's a question, does black want to play sort of Benoni style with e6 or b5? I guess as soon as you play c5, it's kind of a Benoni structure, right? So we're looking at pawn breaks at b5 and e6. Since black's got less space, they're going to look at moves to break out, and white is continuing to take liberties with lots and lots of pawn pushing. So black wants to be able to break out. Chandu, I've muted the other two on my channel, or you're on Rachel's channel. Oh, yeah. Rachel will tell you. All right, so a6. h4. Now black has to decide, do we try to stop that pawn from advancing further, or do we just go for our own counterplay over here, hit white with b5? Both are quite viable, by the way. It looks devastating to allow h5. Am I doing anything that matters that much? Well, we're playing b4, threatening to win a piece. White doesn't have an attack worth a piece sack yet. And if they move the knight, look, it doesn't really have any good moves. And then knight e4, loose piece, this stuff. That's a heck of a lot of counterplay, right? Let me see, is the stream down? Check. So white could try trading on f6 so the e-pawn doesn't drop at that point, right? But then even still, where does this knight go? Maybe a4 to defend the b-pawn, right? So I don't want to be responsible for knight b1, bishop takes b2, I don't think. And we can see that, yes, white achieved h5. Black didn't win anything yet. But, white gave up that bishop pair. The threat doesn't look that scary. The knight's badly placed on a4. So, definitely still a game going. Black could play e6, trying to open the center. Bishop d7 with the idea of taking on a4 and then b2. It looks totally viable, So let's refresh and see where they're at. So in the game, we got h5 immediately. White plays f3, preparing g4. Anushka plays bishop d7. She wants to play b5, but she's not sure about the Benko gambit here. The b5, pawn takes b5. Now that f3 is defending the e-pawn. Before, b5 wasn't really a pawn sack in the line I showed you where I didn't play h5 for black. Because if white took twice on b5, black would have had knight e4. So now she's worried about losing a pawn. But this move here, I'm pretty sure she's going to regret. It's awkward to block in this knight on b8. It's got no way to quickly develop if black suddenly needs development. Yeah, knight a4 skivix is better than knight b1, it seems, for sure. But here, she should still just play b5 as a pawn sack and not worry at all about it being a pawn sack. Look how many pawn moves white has made and how their position is not organized in terms of development. And the only thing white's trying to do is still play g4 and still work on your king slowly with pawn breaks. So sure, give a pawn on the queen side. Jazz open the position. Don't worry about playing a Benko. It'll be totally fine. Okay, so here, queen a5. I guess she's saying if bishop f6 to take on h5, she'll have bishop c3. But honestly, taking on h5 is such a big deal that I would double check this idea. Obviously, I have the advantage of I'm moving pieces. I get to this position as white, I'm down a pawn, but this king is just getting destroyed, right? These pieces are going to come out slowly. I guess black's queen is amazing, and black can go to an endgame, so that'll avoid the king getting destroyed. So let's take back the pawn. White will play knight h3. I will trade that piece off, and then go queen d4. That's the escape valve for my king. However, white has rook g5 and rook d1. I feel like I'm going to play this endgame easily down a pawn as black. So still looks good for white, honestly, even with the queen trade. So as white, I would strongly consider still going for that h5 pawn here. Let's see what happened in the game. Queen a5, gh5, allowing the knight to go there, and then rook c1. So they're both playing it a little bit more tame as far as offering, being afraid of pawn sacks. Here white could consider bishop e7, giving the pawn on c3 with check and collapsing black's whole center. But white played this sort of solid move. Now the king gets out of the way, nice. And there's the counterplay with b5. White should basically would love to leave that untouched. Trading, you know, opens up the rook, opens up the queen side. Ideally, white does nothing over there. But I guess black's sort of threatening b4, sending the knight to b1. Then bishop takes b2, and the whole queen side gets mopped up. So we might see a move like a3 from white. We might see a move like queen to d2, protecting the pawn on b2. White's position's probably not good here. It's my instinct on this. Okay, goes for bishop takes h5. That's the only thing that white has going for them is the king side thing. So Rachel just ignores everything on the queen side and goes for bishop takes h5. My instinct for black would be to play b4. And then against bishop takes h5, I'd probably play pawn takes knight on c3. It's not inconceivable to play knight f6. And the move bishop takes c3 followed by knight f6 could even come into your mind. I don't recommend it, but it could. Then there's the loony move pawn to f6 trying to trap this piece. That's gotta be nonsense. It does seem to win the piece. Huh. I mean, winning a piece isn't 100%. It's 100% nonsense because the queen can come to h5. So here, if you take, white has bishop g6, which is crushing. But if you take, white takes with the queen. Yes, you've trapped this bishop, but if you ever take it, you do this to yourself. Doesn't look good for black. It doesn't look good. The entire queen side's not playing and the king's open. I wouldn't do that. Check. King scoots over. All kings are in jeopardy. I guess a certain kind of person finds this kind of position to be fun. Like me when I was young. Now it's a little bit of a, oh, what a headache. Yeah, very complex position they've got here. They've got a couple second increment, but yeah, nothing like the kind of time you would want to have here in a game. The knight retreats from bishop takes h5. Now h5 should be kind of automatic for Rachel. She should push her her time advantage with that. So after I say it's automatic, I caught myself going, but, are we allowing bishop takes c3, knight e4? And now I'm calculating some moves there. It's not necessarily completely simple, huh? Rachel chooses to use all her time. In a blitz game, I would have just played h5 immediately. Bishop c3, rook c3, knight e4. I wanted to play rook c to h3, doubling on the h file, but there's bishop takes h3 as a problem. So she defends the e pawn against knight e4 for now. b4 kicks that knight. It heads towards the king side. That's the correct side of the board. Now I'd expect probably bishop takes b2, and at some point you just gotta stop worrying about material and play h5, but maybe there's nothing wrong with rook c2 first. Where's the bishop going? The bishop's a little bit weird, and it has nowhere really safe to go, so, maybe it's worth playing this move. Okay, so now h5 or get obsessed with the bishop with queen b1. h5, very good. Woohoo! The move we've all been waiting for. This is the only thing White's wanted to do this entire game, was open this h file. Bishop sneaks in weirdly. Rook h4, I guess. Have that bishop explain itself. Hey, Charlie. I'm going to be streaming some more, slightly more normal American hours now that I'm back in California. And the kids are back in school. So it's going to get easier and easier to catch me. Oh man, that queen wants to go to h5. We're all for developing our knight, but looks like White might win another game with a knight on g1 here. It's possible. Queen h5, ignore that bishop. No. Who needs that piece? Queen h5, queen h5, queen h5! It's made in two! Queen h5! The king's doing weird things. Oh my gosh, the king escaped. Now that queen h5 moves too late. And the rook on b2 is hanging. She's going to try queen f7, get super tactical. Black's got queen d3 coming as well. Queen h5 was very bad once it wasn't checkmate, and it has to come back, yeah. Weirdly, White's got an extra piece, but not yet sure how to use it. Queen e1 allows rook g1. King f2 allows queen g1. The knight dies where it started. And there's mate on g3 to follow. Wow. From checkmate to checkmated. There it is. Okay.
Oops. I feel like I was chilling until I did not
You were
play.
completely winning.
Yeah, I think that was like probably the only way to lose that fast. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of this h4 h5 stuff. I guess I've never played the Averbach as White. To me, it's very unnatural to have the knight on g1 all game, every game. Has anyone ever developed that piece in this match?
I usually don't.
You usually don't. The truth
comes
comes
out. All
out.
my games. No, sometimes I sack my rook and then I play knight h3, and then it just comes in the very end to checkmate.
Okay.
It's just
Madness.
Just be like that.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy. It's definitely mind-bending if you're not used to playing it, right? It's very different than how some other openings play. And that's part of the point of opening sparring and learning new openings, period, right? Is that in different openings, there are somewhat different rules, right? Sometimes they're like, get your knight to f3 and control the d4 square. And other times you just leave it on g1, move literally every pawn on the board except your a pawn. Try and checkmate.
I mean,
Um,
it worked out well.
yeah,
Here.
yeah. There was a moment where Rachel could have played Queen H5 for two or
Yeah.
maybe two moves in a row, and it would have been checkmate and an immediate miss.
Actually,
I
Yeah,
felt like a Benoni player. It was kind of cool because I always
oh
play it
yeah,
from the white
Queen
side.
H5.
yeah. Every move
Yeah,
until
instead
you
of taking
played
the
it.
bishop, I played Queen H5 and it's checkmate
Yeah.
in one move.
Yep.
That's well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's really nice.
Yeah. And when she played King F7, you could play Queen H5 and tell her get back in there, right? And she just has to go right back to. Yeah.
You can also take the rook for free on E8. Many checkmates here.
Once the black king got away, it was oddly hard to play for white, even though you had an extra piece, right?
Yeah.
Because your entire position was only set up for delivering checkmate. And of course, you weren't using your extra piece. So.
Yeah. Rip. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We're up 2 pieces. My knight was on G8 or B8 again.
Yeah. So here's a crazy question. Let's go to a certain move, like around move 15 or so, and see who we think was better. Yeah, like let's say around King F2 B5, move 13. Do either of you have a sense of who should repeat this line and who shouldn't?
I think black is a little bit better here.
Okay, I think white is a little bit better. But I do think black has play.
I think it's also the bias of playing, like, the openings that we play.
Right,
Just
so
like how
you each prefer the other person's position because it's the one you would normally have.
Oh, this just looks like a terrible Benoni. Like, I would hate to have this, but my rook is on E8. Like, its only job is to defend the E7 square.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't look amazing for black, but it doesn't look amazing for white either.
So you still think black's better?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to play either side, really.
Okay. Fair enough. Very, very hard to evaluate. Sometimes these kind of positions, you play them without even evaluating, right? Like you just play the moves that follow your plan, right? And you wait to see where things fall when it becomes less crazy. So, like you played F4 and either bishop takes H5 or H5, right? Like you just kept going for the plan, which I think is the right plan. Is it, Anushka?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she sort of single-mindedly went after the H5 square. That's what you would have done too?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, so you follow the right plan, right? And you don't have to know if you're better or worse. Like, you just kind of have to follow your plan. Yeah, my suggestion seeing this game, Anushka, is that I think you can play B5 without bishop D7.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the bishop on D7 blocks the knight on B8, which is just too discoordinating. So play B5.
I know that some...
But, so what happens if they take? I was so frustrated in this game because I was like, how does everyone play B5 against me? And I have to work so hard to prepare B5.
Mm-hmm.
Children play this. And I was like...
So I guess it'd be as early as move 9, right? You would just play B5, and if white wants to take the pawn, they take the pawn. And then you just play down a pawn.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think there's some lines with that. And I think in a lot of lines the bishop stays on C8 until later in the game. Like same with your Averbach knight on G1, that's like the bishop's on C8 equivalent in some lines in the King's Indian.
So here's the thing, Anushka.
I mean, I'm fine with my... Oh, yeah.
If white takes the pawn, there's two different ways they could play, right? They could start playing quote-unquote normally and try and consolidate the position and play for the extra pawn. Or they could keep playing your Averbach kind of stuff like G4 and trying to force the king side, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they keep trying to force the king side, the pawn just won't matter. Will it really? Because you just be both attacking each other, right?
Yeah.
You'll play queen b6, bishop a6, attack b2. It's just a lot of counterplay, and white's just sitting there with their king in the middle of the board pushing g4. Or they can try and switch over to consolidating, but if so, then all these h4 and f3 moves are kind of weird. You've got time to create normal Banco counterplay, I think, on the b file.
Okay, interesting. Maybe I need more practice with that. I was fine with my bishop on c8. I just like
You just
I
wanted to
knew
play
that
b5.
b5 was supposed to happen, and
Yeah.
I was like, why can't I do it?
Yeah.
I guess I ask Kostya this, but maybe you have a different take, David, on like when to play c5 versus e5 in the King's Indian. I know Kostya mentioned something about like, you know, where white castles could be a factor, like queen side maybe c5, king side maybe e5. But I mean, yeah, like,
I mean, my
she played
first take,
c5 here, maybe
my first take would probably be to ask Kostya, because I don't know and he does. But if I had to say something, I would say in a lot of the positions, I think c5 and e5 are probably both playable, if I were to guess.
Okay.
And so there are probably some positions where it's slightly better one way or the other, but it's within the realm probably where they're both playable, and it's just a matter of following up logically the moves that work with one or the other.
Okay.
Just like on the first move of the game, you could play c5 or e5 when white plays e4, right? Here also, I feel like you could sort of do either.
Okay.
What did you think about h5? Because I remember Rachel played h5, like h4, h5, in a game against me once, and I think it was our blindfold game, and I like didn't handle it well, so I thought I would try it, and I don't know, it felt like just as bad, if not worse.
The other game, you had white or black?
I was playing white.
You were playing white the other game. And here you played h5, and it seemed okay, right? Like it slowed white down quite a lot. It made her play f3 and g4, and then trade once, and then play f4 to kick your knight. So it slowed h5 by 3 tempi or so.
Yeah.
But I would say when I was watching, I looked at an alternative move for you, which is b5 versus h5. And that move's very interesting as well.
Okay.
b5, when the pawn on e4 is not defended, you can see white. I mean, you'll like this. White can't win the pawn because you have the knight takes e4, knight takes e4, queen a5 check combination.
Oh.
So b5 is not like a normal gambit. And then there's b5. White could play h5, just ignoring you, right? And then you play b4, kicking the knight to play knight takes e4. And it's very sharp. My instinct was that black would be okay with that line.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks pretty nice, actually.
Yeah. I was like, where's my counterplay coming? Like, if h5 slows them down, but then I have like, okay, 4 more moves before I die.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do with my 4 moves? If you gave me 4 moves in any other opening, I would know what to do. But in this opening, I was kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you figured out, if you give them a lot of time, you're going to die. So that means you need to play a pawn break, right? So you played b5. I mean, your options are b5 or e6 or both. And I don't think you could go wrong with either. Honestly, the main way you could go wrong is too much prep and too little willingness to sack a pawn. You have to move that dial as the game gets more violent or complicated, right? The more white plays a bunch of aggressive pawn moves and doesn't coordinate their position in like a basic way, right? Like she's not spending a tempo on queen c2 or queen d2. She's not spending a tempo on knight f3. She's not even playing knight h3, knight f2, right? So that increases your ability to offer pawn sacks. So you can sharpen your play when they're playing more aggressively.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And yeah, I kind of sensed a reluctance on your part to sacrifice. Yeah. And yeah, I think you can just turn that dial up when white plays like this. And that's another thing to consider when you're playing from the white side of this, that the black players from the King's Indian, they're going to be willing to sack. They're going to play aggressive moves.
Yeah, I need to play more like that.
I remember you recommended that I like after I learned the Night Orf. This is like way back when I learned the Check Benoni.
Yep.
I looked at it, but I never learned it or started playing it. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be.
But playing this was cool.
That'll probably be next after this tournament. You've done a good job of incorporating the Night Orf, and I think you know it well enough that you can move on to learning something new.
Okay. Yeah. So,
should we play again?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure there's more to look at.
Yeah. I think after this one, I should probably head out if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna mute myself.
All right, the next game's probably started. Let's watch the next game. Okay, we got bishop g5, knight a6 this time. So we saw c5 played once. Okay, and this is where in a previous game Rachel played c6, and then afterwards she regretted it and said she wished she'd played a5, and so this time she does play a5. But we saw that c6 b4 wasn't so bad for black, right? It was nothing like obvious or convincing for white. Okay, here comes the pawn storm again. And Anushka's playing very quickly, so she's comfortable with the white side of this, doing what she wants to do. CD, CD. This is also a position where sometimes black plays b5, even though it seems to be like a huge pawn sack, distracting from white's pawn storm, you know, with some tactics to follow. h5 is coming next. This is a position where I'd be sweating as black. Yeah, if I were Rachel, I would not be sure what to do next here. And Anushka is still basically in theory or knowledge. I don't know if we're covering much of the Sinkfield Cup Doomsday. Let me see. We had planned to cover... It looks like the Sinkfield Cup is live right now, huh? Prague against Gukesh. Maybe I will. Maybe I will cover some of the Sinkfield Cup. I'm supposed to cover this Maya tournament in a few days that Rachel and Anushka and Kostya and Matt have all been preparing for the last 6 weeks. So I'm supposed to cover that in a couple days when it starts. And we had a general Chess Dojo agreement between Kostya, Jesse, and I that we were going to cover... wow, Rachel using all her time. I wonder if this is a moment where she knows the move she wants to play and is just thinking forever before playing it. Miss Elise guesses the move. We have a general agreement to cover the 2 World Championship qualifying events, the World Cup and the Grand Swiss. So that's on the docket for Jesse, Kostya, and I to cover those events. The Sinkfield Cup is usually kind of boring. The last couple of years, it's been so boring. I've maybe not even watched every single game from it. But with Gukesh and Prague playing, maybe it'll be more exciting. And Caruana's been playing very excitingly of late, so maybe I'll give it a look. I won't be able to cover it today for sure because I'm recording the podcast with Jesse and Kostya after this show. But maybe I'll cover round 2 tomorrow, Doomsday. I saw your game, Houseline, because you put it up on Chess Dojo already, so that was great. Maybe I'll have half an hour between this and recording the podcast, and I can quickly look at Gukesh versus Prague, see what's going on there. I mean, they're pretty much my favorite players to watch. All right, so White's... So, Ski, because you asked me the question early on about whether or not White would ever want to play Bishop H6 with all these pawns on light squares, right? Was that you? And I said, almost never unless checkmate is basically in view. So here, Bishop H6 could be considered for White on the next move right here by Anushka. Because you'll be threatening Bishop H6, Bishop G7, King G7, H takes G6, and then Queen H6, etc. Right? So I think this is a position where actually you could consider Bishop H6. Yeah, and Prague and Gukesh always go all out against each other. I love to see it. Love to see it. Okay, first we get the HG trade. This gives black the extra defensive option of Rook F7. So this is normally, I think, not helpful. Although Anushka's the bigger Averbach expert than I, but just throwing in my 2 cents from all the other chess positions I've seen. See here, if the pawns were still on these squares, black would not have the move Rook F7, which there's a very high chance black's about to play Rook F7. Actually, if I were black, I might play Bishop takes H6, Queen takes H6, and then Rook F7, so the Queen can worry about defending B2. Or is White just going to castle queenside and they don't care? Yeah, they don't care. Knight F6. Maybe White needs to castle queenside so they don't have to keep worrying about the B2 pawn. We get the trade. Looks like the queen's going to come in and then White will castle queenside. Throws in G5. Quick response, Knight H5. Queen B2 was possible as well, just leaving the knight hanging. I mean, Queen B2 might have lost by force in 3 moves. I'm just saying it was possible to calculate it. Rachel doesn't have a lot of time here, because she spent something like 3 minutes on Queen B6, something like 60% of her time for the whole game. And there's F4, threatening Bishop H5. Kind of like the only thing to do is black. So now Rachel has to choose between, Queen B2, Rook F4, which is kind of useless since White's really just trying to do this. But the first line I calculated was Rook F4, Bishop H5, Knight D3 check. Actually, maybe Knight D3 check immediately is the best move for black. That's really not obvious. But here's the point. The only thing White wants to do is Bishop H5. So you play Knight D3 check. If White takes it, then they're not threatening anything, right? Now you play Queen B2. And I don't think White can save both these pieces. Or it's hard to. Right? And now White's sort of not doing anything. And if White doesn't take the knight, well then there's some more immediate devastation happening to their king. Wherever they go, you can take something with check. Maybe here with the idea of Queen B2, King D3, Queen A1, Bishop H5, maybe winning for White. So in this position after king d2, I'll reveal the other idea of knight d3 is I could come here, right? And then I just hold the h5 square, and now white's doing nothing for the rest of the game, right? Nothing at all. So I think that knight d3 move was probably completely winning for black. That's my instinct. Knight d3 was winning on this move here. Interesting. Anushka now calculating deeply. Hopefully Rachel's taking advantage of Anushka's time to do some calculating because she doesn't have any time of her own. This is her one chance to calculate something. Yeah, I just don't believe in white's position without the pieces more coordinated. I thought knight d3 was like a clear win. The more I look at queen b2, the more it looks pretty good for black as well here. White's basically, the plan is bishop takes h5, and that's more or less it. I guess it could work out. The idea of bishop then taking on g6, or if black takes on h5, maybe white plays g6 before playing rook h5. I suppose white could deliver either checkmate or a perpetual. It's believable. But I'm seeing, you know, queen takes c3 check. The white king comes to f2. Rook takes f4 check. Oh, white doesn't even take on h5. Uh-oh. That doesn't feel right. King f1. So that does allow rook f4 here. Or knight e4. Knight e4, then if you ever go bishop h5, black can play knight g3 check. And then take on h5 with the knight. Yeah, black's winning for sure after knight e4, and almost for sure after rook f4 as well. Oof. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
It's kind of unfortunate.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I played the opening wrong. I did not know what to do when I played knight d7. Like it just everything looked bad. I didn't know if you had a recommendation there. I felt like I'd messed something up. Pretty big, and after h5, I had no idea what to do. Maybe I just sit and don't do anything. I'm not sure. On move 13.
On move 13. Yeah.
But I wasn't exactly sure where I had gone wrong. It just felt like I'd gone wrong somewhere.
Right. Well, I'm not sure exactly what queen b6 accomplished or what knight d7 accomplishes, but
yeah,
I mean,
I didn't know what to do with that move either.
A basic move might be bishop d7, followed by rook a to c8, the open file.
Okay. But like, let's say bishop d7 instead of queen b6, and then
sorry,
a5.
This was
h5?
on move 13 because you asked me about knight f d7. So queen b6, h5.
Yeah, well, queen b6 as well. I just didn't have the right plan there.
Okay.
But I was worried. I wasn't sure. I guess after h5, I just don't do anything, and it's okay.
Right. Okay. So let's go bishop d7, h5.
Yeah.
Can you play b5 here?
Bishop takes.
Bishop takes. Bishop takes. Knight takes. And now queen b6.
A4?
A4, knight b3.
Oh, shit. Not knight.
Knight c3.
And knight c3, queen b2.
Oh, sick. Ah. That's nice. That's really nice.
So it's kind of like a big theme of the King's Indian that black ends up playing a lot of moves that white thinks they prevented. Because of a little this or that tactic here or there, especially if white has played a line like this with a lot of pawn pushes and not like a normal coordination. Right? We haven't played castles queenside, king b1, knight g2 or something. We haven't played knight f3, castles kingside, right? So there are going to be little things happening everywhere.
Okay.
That's what makes the King's Indian so fun.
Yeah.
And also...
But let's also say your queen b6 move, like queen b6, h5, bishop d7 there. What's white doing that's so bad for black?
Yeah, I guess you hold. It just looks a little bit scary.
Like,
I guess h6, bishop h8, then you don't really have a break anymore.
So h6, bishop h8
HG.
is fine
Or
because
HG? Okay.
you can still move the knight away and then play, you know, f5 or bishop f6.
Yeah.
HG, FG looks
FG.
Yeah.
Same bishop h6.
Bishop h6. Okay.
And then
Rook f7?
I think
No, yeah.
I'm tempted to.
Well, because after g5, I always have knight h5, and I feel like I'm fine.
I think I'll trade on h6 myself as black. And then queen h6. And then queen b2.
yeah, it's the same thing.
Black could have also played rook f7, by the way, if queen b2 doesn't work here.
Right.
And rook f7's fine. But queen b2 looks very good to me because if white plays g5, basically my plan is to let you take the knight on f6 and then play rook f7. And meanwhile, I take the knights on c3 and rook on a1 with check. And give up the knight on f6.
So I guess what is white supposed to do? Does white have to play like b3 or...
It looks like you
or...
probably can't play bishop h6 yet in this position. I don't know what white normally does here. So I don't know if you normally leave the king on e1 or if you move the knight from g1 to h3 or f2 or what. But I struggle to understand how white wants to play myself. From another line that I've sometimes played, I could maybe suggest king f1 to g2 as a plan. To get the king out of the way of stuff. Maybe rook to b1 just so the b pawn's covered and your queen can go to h6. I also wondered if you might castle queenside in this position, and then I would play rook c8, of course, and you would play king b1. And then I was maybe going to play knight a4 anyway. As black. I don't know if I went too fast on this line, but...
No, that's fair. And it's in the line where instead of queen b6, you played bishop d7?
Yeah.
Or is it after? Yeah.
Well, it's
that makes
it's either
sense.
bishop d7, h5, queen b6, or queen b6, h5, bishop d7.
Yeah.
But basically, I'm just playing rook c8, knight a4, maybe trade one piece, see if anything starts to happen on the c file. If it does, I've got the second rook on f8 that I can bring to the c file. So I'm waiting with the rook on f8 for a while because in a lot of cases I need the rook f7 defensive resource. But I'm sort of coordinating my worst pieces, right? The rook on a8 and the bishop on c8, and then take it from there. So white is either going to try and checkmate me and sort of commit more, or they're going to try and finish coordinating their pieces, like the bishop on e2 might go to d3 and the knight to e2, or knight h3 to f2 or something. I don't know for sure.
I had another question too for move 12.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of c takes d5, like knight takes d5. Is that a move?
Yeah.
And I know Kostya was mentioning like knight e6 afterwards.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I was just looking at if this was, but I think in some of the lines he was mentioning like the pawn wasn't on h4. I'm not sure. Maybe this is fine regardless.
Knight e6 makes sense because you're trying to relieve the tension and maybe trade those white pieces on f6. And also this knight could end up being even better on d4 than c5 maybe. So that move makes sense.
Right. Okay, so maybe this is
the other thing you could potentially do. This is like a very, like, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but you could maybe just play bishop e6 and just take that knight on d5 with your bishop, just to keep bringing out new pieces.
Okay.
And again, looking to play rook c8, right?
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
I could see myself playing b5 in the near future with this bishop e6 move. It could coordinate with either rook c8 or b5. The idea
feels like I'm not getting what I want.
You don't feel like you're getting what you want, yeah. The idea of b5, Rachel, would be that when white takes with c takes b, then you can then trade on d5, and then when they play e takes d, you push e4. So you're releasing the bishop on g7, right?
Ah, nice.
And you're just dynamiting the position. It looks like white has everything locked with c4, e4, f3. It looks all locked up, right? But then you find a way where the c-pawn can actually only cover b5 or d5, right? And then the e-pawn, well, yeah, it looked like it was locking down d5, but it was also trying to block e5, e4. So you find a way to make something happen. You can be very free about losing a pawn or two if you're better coordinated in the resulting position.
Yeah, e4 is a really nice move. And then we don't really have to worry about h6, bishop h8 things because it.
Oh yeah, you're saying you don't need to worry about.
Yeah. I don't know. Just at some point, like in the end game, if there's a pawn on h6 like that, I don't know. But I guess
I mean, a pawn on h6 can bother you in the end game, right? So, who wants the end game and who wants the middle game can actually change really quickly, and it's like a hard thing to keep track of, right? Like, who needs because both kings are in some danger, right? So if you allow a situation that's bad for you in the end game, then suddenly you become the person who needs to keep the juice going and keep queens on the board to play against their king. Or if you suddenly get the upper hand in the end game for some factor, then you can offer queen trades. I think that h5, h6 in this position, it doesn't look super threatening to me. Because it seems like you can still always get your bishop out at f6. From what I'm looking at. As long as the bishop's not trapped, the endgame's not the end of the world, nor is it strategically the end of the world. Basically, the theme that is losing for black to watch out for is if white's bishop moves from e3. Like to e3, for example. The bishop moves from g5. If white can play g5 and h6 and trap the bishop on h8 with no squares to go to,
right,
that is lost.
Yeah.
Just how to reassess your chess.
Yeah.
It looks like something else.
But as long as the bishop can still get out at f6, h6 is a possibility, but not necessarily game deciding. And there's so much going on, I wouldn't even be able to tell you when it would or wouldn't be good.
Right.
Yeah. You want to break with a5 with f5 if you can. But if they play h6, bishop h8, then you have to be very careful about playing f5 and letting white push past you with g5, trapping your bishop. Yeah, so you have to be maybe first you have to get your pieces out before playing f5 there.
Right.
Yeah.
If I didn't play HG and I just went like knight h3 or something, after h6, I can't take that pawn, right?
Okay.
On b2.
So let's see, knight fd7, white to move here, and you're suggesting maybe developing the knight, which looks fine.
Yeah.
And then you're saying black could play h6.
So do I just go back?
Sacking the king position because of queen b2, right?
Mm-hmm.
My instinct is now you can sack everything and give checkmate.
Really?
I feel like black's really asking for it now, yeah.
Okay, so HG here, queen a1 check, and then king f2.
Yeah, so let me try this. h6, bishop h6, bishop h6, queen h6.
Queen takes b2.
Queen takes b2.
You play h takes g.
Oh, maybe.
And then king f2.
Maybe knight
like
g5
after the check?
first.
Okay, so we could in this position, right after queen b2, we've got 3 candidate moves. King f2, h takes g, and knight g5, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess a 4th candidate move is knight d1. Saying if you want anything, it's the rook on a1, and then you're out of checks, and then we try to checkmate. Let's try that move, actually. Knight d1. I assume queen a1's the only real move for black, right? Otherwise, they're just lost for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And now let's play knight g5 first, like Anushka was saying before, just threatening this mate very, very calmly.
Knight f6.
My understanding is knight f6 is the only move. I mean, I would always be quickly calculating knight d3 check, bishop d3 on every move, just making sure I'm not blundering a resource. But yeah, it looks like knight f6 is the only real move, and then h takes g, and that's mate.
Yeah.
No more way to stop queen h8. So, yeah, against knight h3, black can't play h6. You would just take it and mate. I'm guessing knight d1's not the only winning move, by the way. Probably 3 or 4 of the 4 candidate moves we looked at are checkmate.
Okay.
So knight h3, you could play it. And then the question is, what is black up to, right? Was Rachel going to play f5 now that the knight's out of the way? Or was she going to think for a few minutes?
Yeah, I mean, the bishop's on c8, or the bishop on c8 is obstructed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe I don't really know what else to do other than f5, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably f5.
Okay. So probably f5.
H2.
And once that's played, Anushka's probably interested in full destruction here. So probably hg and then gf. Trading 2 sets of pawns would be my guess. Is that possible, Anushka?
It looks possible.
Okay. So we'll do that. And now, how about castling queenside?
Yeah, it looks really good.
Preparing rook
I
dg1.
really want to play
F4.
bishop h6. I don't know why that's my, like, yeah, castling looks great. I don't know why I wouldn't just castle.
What were you thinking of doing?
I mean, my instinct is always just to play bishop h6.
Bishop h6?
But, like, castling is fine. I don't know why I can't just castle.
Castling brings so much to this party at the moment.
Yeah.
And if black plays f4, you can always just take on f4, right? I mean, I would probably still play rook dg1 first. And
I mean, can we take on e4?
instead of f4?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. fe4. I will play fe4, Anushka, for you. Because if you play knight e4, you let Rachel trade one of her tangled knights.
And then knight f6.
So play fe4, knight f6. So she's threatening counterplay on e4, potentially.
What if I take the knight, rook takes, and then I go bishop g4?
You're thinking of trading on f6 and then playing where?
Bishop g4?
Is that not a free bishop?
Yeah, g4 we don't have covered.
What? Okay, maybe I'm looking at the wrong line.
The rook is still on d1.
Oh no, I played rook g1.
Rook
Sorry.
g1 instead, yeah.
Yeah, after knight f6, I played rook g1,
Sounds
and
good.
then
Okay.
wait, no.
And then no, but then you play knight takes e4. Or
After
what?
f4, I played rook g1, and then you played knight
Oh,
e4,
oh.
and then f takes, and then knight f6, and then I took, and then I played bishop g4.
Oh yeah, sorry. I think Rachel's saying
Yeah,
fe4 instead of f4.
Yeah.
Oh, here fe4. Ah, okay.
Fe4, fe4, knight f6.
Yeah.
Knight f6.
Okay, so I'd also be interested in playing rook dg1 here, leaving the e-pawn hanging.
Yeah.
Well, I think Rachel's point was to take on e4, so we should look at that.
Yeah.
Even though we're going to get to sack a queen and have fun.
Knight ce4 maybe?
So yeah, so we trade one knight on e4. Actually, do we even need to trade a knight? Do we just leave it there? Okay, knight c4.
I mean, would taking on f6 before playing rook dg1 do anything?
Okay, if you play knight ce4, then we can play bishop f6.
Okay, so rook. You're saying rook g1 and then knight ce4, bishop takes f6, knight takes f6.
Yeah, knight goes back to f6. Queen h6.
Yeah, this not looking too good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop f5 maybe.
Well, I'm threatening mate in 1.
Or oh shit, sorry.
Queens. And then.
Oh yeah, 98 is nice. Maybe. Queen c7 maybe.
Sure, 98.
I'm not sure.
I'll go bishop d3.
Rook f6.
Rook takes g7.
Yeah, this is terrible.
This whole variation with 3 open files on the king side is making me sing inside my own head. I won't make you feel the pain of hearing me sing, but in my head I'm singing I want to know what mate is, because 3 open files, every white piece coming.
Oh, and then you can even take on f6 and then sack on h7, knight g5. Yeah, this is nice.
Wait, so rook takes g7, knight takes g7, and then what is it?
You play queen f6.
I was going to play queen f6. It's a little boring, but...
And then what happens after queen e3?
King c2.
King c2. Yeah, okay. You can't bring it over. Can you play bishop takes h3 then?
Sure. Yeah. Amazing. I thought the game would be over by now.
What about bishop?
Okay, I'm going to play queen h4.
I want to say bishop f5. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that loses.
Bishop f5, knight f5, queen h7 check.
Yeah. King f8.
King f8, queen f5 check.
And then queen f5, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know if there's anything to do here.
There's nothing to do. If black goes for rook f8 to try this rook f2 trick, white can just two-step with queen h7 before taking the bishop.
Yeah.
And now again, white's up a piece while chasing the black king. So. Yeah. No, it's. So, I mean, this is, I think, what you want, Anushka, right? You want this, like, f5, suddenly you castle queenside, open all 3 files. You're well set up here for f5 not to work. For black.
That's how it was advertised to me.
Yeah. So that's kind of the point of the Averbach, right? If your opponent plays h5, it's their king that gets put to the sword instead of yours.
So I guess when this kind of structure happens and my plan switches to b5 stuff.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like f5 is working. Yeah.
For what it's worth, Rachel, I quickly looked up what like a supercomputer thinks of this variation, and it suggested what Anushka played last game against you. You know, you guys were asking me is like, how do I know between c5 and e5, and I don't. Well,
Okay.
I put this briefly into a supercomputer, and it said that this approach of Anushka's was c5
On move 6?
on move 6. That's what it thought was the very best. c5, and then d5 like you played, and then just e6 immediately from black, just starting to open the center, even before the pawns are running.
Okay. So could you say that one more time? C5?
Mm-hmm. c5, d5,
D5,
e6.
E6. Okay.
This is like a Benoni.
That was my computer's recommendation. So you kind of switch straight into a Benoni immediately here. I can tell you from years of playing the Benoni, you know, bishop g5, bishop is not like a particularly good line against the Benoni.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's possible here.
So after e6, if ed, am I taking back with the e pawn or the c pawn? Because I usually take with the c pawn so that I can go knight c3 to d2 to c4.
Right. So after e6, what move would you play for white, Anushka?
Okay, I guess I have to play like knight f3 or something.
You don't have to. Like, you can also take on e6 here.
Oh, really?
So, and you can play queen to d2 as well. That's what I kind of guessed the Anushka style move would be in this position, was I was kind of guessing maybe queen d2 you would play. But yeah, you can play knight f3, you can take on e6. There's a million moves you can play. So I don't think Rachel could prepare any further than this. Rachel, like if I were playing the King's Indian in tournaments, this is as far as I would book up.
Okay.
Because my supercomputer said that in this position there are 12 moves for white that have the same evaluation, and I'm not looking to memorize all of that. So
Yeah.
so I'd be like,
It's just
okay,
interesting because like
against bishop g5 I'll play the Benoni. That would be like as much as I would learn, you know.
when we did this with Kostya, we just looked at knight a6 on move 6,
Sure.
and we just did like a whole bunch of sidelines after knight a6.
Yeah.
So yeah, we didn't even look at c5 on move 6.
Yeah.
That's because we didn't switch. And your style would be to play e5, and my style would be to play c5.
Yeah.
Huh.
So here we had something else
realize.
revealed, right? It's actually the not King's Indian player who played the line that I would recommend at this point, just because I trust my supercomputer even more than Kostya.
Unfortunately.
Like when I was learning the Averback, I looked at what people were saying about the theory, and they always said like both are fine. And online, I think, or like a bunch of the trendy people suggest knight a6, and they're like, "Oh, this is good. This is crazy. They're not going to see it. Your c pawn's defended." And that's it.
You mean like white's going to go take on c7 at some point and not know your knight's on a6?
Well, it's just like, okay, so the point in the Auerbach, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but after bishop g5, Rachel, it's you can't play e5 because I take and then I take, and then I go knight d5, and then I'm attacking your c pawn and I'm attacking your knight, and then I think you're losing a pawn here. So
yeah, this happened to me before once.
Yeah, so that's like one of the points of knight a6 is
E5.
that like that allows e5.
It allows you to play normal King's Indian move e5, right?
Yeah. So it's like it's the anti-Averback move. Like the point is to undo the thing that the Averback does. So that's what people recommend online.
Got it.
It's very trendy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here it's not good to take on e5.
Yeah.
Right. So what Rachel was playing with knight a6 and e5 in a couple games, that was kind of what you had looked at with Kostya as like a normal approach for black. Then you play knight c5. When they defend e4, you play a5, etc. It's a super complicated game. But yeah, Anushka's c5 is very good as well. So you can play either.
Okay.
But
it's good to look at both themes.
Yeah. But okay, Anushka had a question that's interesting, which is how to recapture on d5, right? So I'm going to play queen d2 for white in this position so that black can take on d5. And then Um, if I were black, I would take on d5, Anushka. So you're right to wonder how you would recapture. Are you okay with the position I'm at? I played c5, d5, e6, yeah. Queen d2, and now I'm taking.
ED.
And the reason I'm doing this is not to push our theory further along, but to answer a structural question, right? Because Anushka has a question, how do I want to recapture on d5? That applies to 20 different positions, not just this one, right? So I would normally be inclined to play c takes d as white in this particular position here, but it's always honestly a question between all three moves can be plausible. The e takes d5 move can sometimes be nice in the sense that the position becomes even simpler. And let me give you one overarching consideration for any of these Benoni structures. Black needs to trade a piece. They like need some extra breathing room because they've got 3 minor pieces that potentially all want to be on d7 right now. And it's just brutal. So black is really looking for a chance to trade a piece. So you have to be looking at, is there some way for black to play, I don't know, rook e8, knight e4, or bishop to g4 and trade a piece, right? And if black can trade a piece, then that's going to relieve their position a lot. In this position, to me, the best approach for you is going to be cd5 and f3, because that keeps black from making any trades in this move order.
I would, I think, not play queen d2, just like specifically because that's my like one plan in the Benoni is to put my knight on c4.
Okay. So once you see sort of a Benoni structure, you would more likely play knight f3 on the last move, right? Okay, so let's go e6. And let's go knight f3. And now e takes d5 from black. My sense here is in this position with knight f3, you might want to take on... See, I kind of know that cd5 is not amazing in this line.
Really?
Yeah, because black can sort of play h6, g5, and trade a piece. I mean, I think overall black's fine here. My supercomputer says all 3 recaptures are equal. So, I can show you how I'd play against each of them. Against knight d5, which often looks like black's tied up, but it also sort of leans towards trades. I think you can go sort of knight c6 and bishop e6, and just develop the pieces there as black. And despite the weakness on d6, I think black's just okay. Against c takes d5, I would go h6. And the point is to go h6,
bishop h4, g5.
Bishop h4, g5, bishop g3, knight h5. And you trade a piece.
Even if you can recapture with the h-pawn?
Whichever way white wants to recapture.
Okay.
That's a perfectly fine approach for black against cd. Against ed, I have a little less experience with because I played a lot of main Benoni
I should look at this with Rachel.
Structures before.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, but like the one time we actually like tried to look at the best way to play, this is what we looked at. And like rook e8 here, and then I think just castles. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so here for black, I'm dreaming of playing knight e4, right? If we're in the position right after e takes d5, e takes d5.
Yeah.
And you're suggesting to me rook e8, which might help me play knight e4, right? But when I show this to the supercomputer, it says there's a very important move for black right here, which is to play h6 immediately, so that the knight will be able to move before white can play queen d2 or something like that. And then after the bishop retreats to e3 or f4 or d2 or whatever, you can now play either rook e8 knight e4 or bishop f5 knight e4. But that's, again, the key idea from black is to be able to trade a piece.
Oh, okay. So how do I not let that happen?
As white,
Yes.
it doesn't seem you can prevent it here.
Wait, sorry, could you say the line one more time? So after e takes d5 h6, and then
the bishop's going to retreat somewhere. White's got several choices.
Okay.
Right? Bishop f4, bishop e3, bishop d2.
Yeah.
All possible. And then the idea for black is to either go bishop f5, knight e4, or rook e8, knight e4.
Okay.
And yeah, white can't prevent knight e4. So black is okay.
Like bishop d3 or something?
Well, then rook e8 is the problem, right? Because white's king's on e1.
Oh, okay. I guess if like bishop e3, for example. Okay.
Yeah, okay, so you go bishop e3. Oh, and you're saying now if I go rook
D8.
e8 instead of bishop f5, you would have bishop d3 there, right?
Yeah.
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 So now I can trade a piece
maybe-
with either knight g4 or bishop g4.
Right.
Depending on your taste, both look very good. I mean, very good in the sense of, not losing for black. Sorry, my standards when I get the Benoni structure are like anything that's not lost, I'm very excited about.
That's really nice. And encouraging. Yeah, I didn't know about like I definitely feel cramped a lot of times playing the King's Indian, so it's I didn't know about like wanting to trade a piece pretty early on.
Yeah, I mean, I saw you play that game with knight fd7 with the bishop on c8, and then you weren't sure what to do next. So you must have experienced my cramp issues occasionally in your life too.
Yes, definitely.
And then Anushka, when she played the c5 game, she had her bishop on d7 and a knight languishing on b8. It was, that knight was unhappy as well. So, yeah, this d7 square is an issue when black only has one square and multiple pieces.
Yeah.
The solution's trading. And that's why in some of the main lines of the Benoni, you see this fancy h3 move, right? Because in a position like this, white would be able to avoid a trade if they'd played early on a fancy h3 move instead of bishop e2, bishop g5.
So instead of, would you say that after e6, queen d2 is better?
I mean, it depends what kind of game you're trying to get, Anushka. Because, like, objectively, so to speak, like supercomputer evaluation wise, the position's like fairly, like, as I said, the top dozen moves my computer engine says are all basically equal.
Okay.
Right? So the choice is the value, is the type of position you want, not like the objective move. I was thinking it was more your style to go queen d2, f3. You prevent that h6 move, you prevent any trades, you keep a more complicated game, and you could still pawn storm black's king side.
Okay, interesting. I guess I like playing against the Benoni usually because I have like a very clear plan of attacking the d pawn. So if I can get a Benoni, but this is like a worse version of the Benoni because I've wasted a tempo on bishop g5, and like you're right, it's only ever gonna like make me get kicked around.
When you play a main line against the Benoni as white, like d4, knight f6, c4, c5, like your opponent's playing the Benoni, do you play a system with knight f3, bishop d3, h3?
Knight f3, bishop e2.
And h3? Or knight f3, bishop e2, knight d2 quickly? Yeah. Okay.
Probably more knight d2 quickly, yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. So you're right to enjoy the white side of the Benoni there quite a lot. And here, you have to adapt how you play it a little bit because that bishop g5 tempo kind of changes things a bit. You could also play d takes e6, bishop takes e6 if you want. It's another kind of simpler kind of position. Depends really what you want. D6 would be the simpler choice. Something like queen d2 or queen c1 would be, or f3. Those would be like the three most complicated choices.
Yeah, I don't know about f3.
Okay.
Everything else is kind of like the same to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a hard time deciding.
Yeah.
H3. I always thought H3 the point was to play bishop f4, bishop h2.
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah.
Okay.
But it's also to prevent black from playing bishop g4 or knight g4 or knight h5 if your bishop's on f4, right? So like h3 is a multi-purpose trade avoiding move.
Mm-hmm.
And normally in the first 7 or 8 moves of a game, playing a3 or h3 is not very good, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there's already a piece there you're attacking, right? But you don't normally play those moves just to stop your opponent from potentially putting one piece on one square. It's not usually worth the time. But the Benoni, black's problem is so much just the cramp of those pieces that h3 is just what you need. Or at least it's one of the top lines for white.
Yeah. Usually I end up playing h3.
Definitely have a lot to look at in the King's Indian. So I think yeah.
I think you should play this line, Rachel. It's like the most annoying for me.
Yeah, I have to. It's reminding me of a game I played. I got wrecked. I had to find it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the follow up was like D takes E and Bishop takes E. I think I played this once.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forget the next few moves, but I was like, yeah, I didn't follow it up right, and the pawns were storming, and I got wrecked. So I need to find that game.
So white still stormed you with the h pawn, huh?
Yeah.
After trading on e6.
The center feels too open for me to storm. I just don't feel comfortable. But it's probably also fine.
I mean, I also could just be remembering it incorrectly. It's like vague familiarity.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you find it, you should send it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
definitely.
think I just blunder or something. I'll have to see. Yeah.
It's definitely a different feeling here with white not having that pawn on d5 kind of blocking up the whole game. But again, I'll just stress, sparring this or looking over games that you've played before from like a spar or looking up a GM game in this line, like all that stuff is super cool where it's like connected and there's a game and you're like really thinking about an idea. But trying to digest and then later regurgitate some top moves from an engine is unlikely to help you very much in this position, right? Like questions about when do I want to trade on d5 or how do I want to recapture on d5, that kind of stuff. I feel like the answers you're getting are useful. But memorizing sequences of moves is pretty tough. And like applies to one scenario versus 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. And definitely, yeah, coming up with it yourself or understanding why it sticks.
Okay. I think I do have to go.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Played hooky long enough.
Yeah. Rachel, something I learned from Kostya, because I was really uncomfortable with white putting a knight on d5 the first few times I looked at some weird King's Indian lines like this. About a year and a half ago when I first started looking at the King's Indian. But one of the things that I saw from Kostya was that you often put your knight on c6 before you play bishop takes d5. Then when they take back, you don't have a knight on b8 that's hurt by their pawn structure. Your knight goes straight into d4 right after you trade.
Okay, wait, sorry. Could you give me a line for that? Or this isn't
not exactly, but like just imagine white puts the knight on d5.
Right, okay.
Like let's say you play e takes d5 and white takes with the knight instead of the c pawn or the e pawn.
Okay. Okay.
right? The
Yeah.
basic method that
Yeah.
Kostya taught me to address that position is you play knight c6 and bishop e6.
Got it. Okay.
Then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
trade the knight on d5 because now your knight is going to hop to d4 instead of sitting on b8 being like, oh, that pawn on d5 is hurting me.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And I felt
makes
uncomfortable, like, how do I work my way out from under the knight on d5? And so I thought it might be useful to pass it on.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And then your knight is on d4. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And that's especially if white puts a pawn on f3, right? Because then they won't have a knight controlling d4 and their development will be a little bit less. If they put a knight on f3 to control knight d4, then the e-pawn might be loose, and you might be able to solve your problems by playing rook e8 and h6 and stuff, and just white's e-pawn might be hanging, so they might have to trade everything off for you.
Right. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
And I guess another thing that I remember maybe seeing in those lines was if white trades twice on f6 and takes your pawn on d6, it's almost always bad for white. Like, you've got a bishop on e6, so they can make you trade to f6 so your queen doesn't defend the d-pawn. And then they could play queen d6, and that's almost always bad for white. Like, black has queen b2 or rook d8 or knight d4, just a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I think we looked at a few lines with Kostya.
Yeah, with Kostya. Because that was my first question. So why can't I take the d-pawn?
Why can't you take the d-pawn? You were in your element that first game, Anushka, when you got to capture 4 consecutive extra pawns.
Oh yeah, great endgame. Lovely endgame.
Yeah, not sure if that was too realistic, but yeah, I would definitely need to look at that some more though. But it's good to know that, like, that I can allow that and be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I needed to know that. I needed to know that it could be okay.
Yeah. I hope I wrote some of those down. Yeah. See if I can find them. Okay. Yeah, I can't find the line that Kostya gave us, but I'm sure I remember it well enough, I think.
You can also rewatch the VOD. I like doing that.
Oh, true, huh? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. F3. Okay. So I guess, okay. So, like, in the game, on move 11, you played h4 again. Okay, yeah, I'll have to find it. I don't know where it is.
Do you have any last-minute words of advice for the tournament, David?
For the tournament overall?
Yeah. What if we start losing all our games? What if I start losing all my games?
Well, remember, you're supposed to have a goal that you'll be able to keep working on even if you start the tournament by losing a bunch of games, right?
True.
A goal that you can still work on so that your time spent there is still valuable and useful for you. Yeah? So that's the key. I mean, what I'd like to do with you, the tournament starts on the 22nd, right?
Yes.
The last thing I'd like to do with each of you sometime in the next, 2 days, whenever works, is make sure that we've got a good goal or 2 goals for the tournament. So review whatever your last week journaling is, right? Because that's when you decide for sure what your goal is. You spent these weeks studying. You had sort of an idea at the very first week, and we had a plan and we worked on some things and you did some studying, and now we just want to make sure that you go into the tournament with a good goal or 2. So you've got something that you can work on at every point in the tournament, and that will be kind of the focus when you're playing. Will be that goal. And then that's your reference point. That's what pulls you out of any difficulties you're having or any problems you're having, is you just go back to that goal.
Okay.
And stick to it.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah.
And of course, you're traveling to probably a cool place and meeting some cool people. So I imagine you're supposed to also have fun while you're there. And of course, chess players generally are having fun when they're winning and like miserable when they're losing. But being at a chess tournament is pretty fun. Sometimes, for some people, it sometimes helps to like think that other people would gladly be there. Like when you're losing and feeling miserable about it, you can be like, oh wait, like how many people would like to be at some nice hotel playing chess for a week?
Yeah.
Possibly even with good weather.
Yeah.
Versus whatever they're doing, right? So then when you're feeling all upset at yourself for like losing a game or blundering or something, you're like, well, there's worse situations out there. Because I would love to be at Maya, but you can just think that I'll be at home changing diapers while you're playing chess, and then
They're there with us in spirit.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, what would David do here? What would David be saying about this position on the chess dojo tree? Yeah. Sorry, could you say one more time after, like, if you give up the d6 pawn and queen takes d6 and black's actually fine?
Yeah.
What did you say right after that for the general plan?
Well, like, normally after white plays queen d6, black would have either queen takes b2 or rook to d8 or knight d4. One of those three moves would probably be very good, right?
Okay.
Not Joe Wall says that there will be people around there specifically to help pick you up if you're down.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's true.
I don't think. Yeah. You gotta give yourself like a 10-minute cooldown when you're hanging out with people, because you can't just like mope in your room the whole night. You have to say hi to people.
Yeah, yesterday somebody on my stream came in and they said, I just lost a classical game like 20 or 30 minutes ago, and I just can't get over this game. Like, I'm still upset about losing the game. Like, what should I do? I was like, 20, 30 minutes ago? That's normal. That's not you haven't gotten over it. That's normal. Everyone's upset for a few minutes after losing.
Yeah.
That's okay. You can be a little bit upset for a little bit of time if you want. Or if that's just how you are,
It's always blundering that pawn on move 60
Don't manifest that.
Yeah.
You knock on wood. It's not gonna happen.
I just want to lose and not know why I lost. If I lost because I did something stupid, I'll be more upset.
You've been preparing for that, for playing move 60 on the increment and not hanging any more pawns than your opponents hang.
Yeah. Exactly.
Things should go your way if it comes down to Endgame Sensei.
Hopefully.
Just think that your opponent's an unwitting participant on the next episode of Endgame Sensei with you that they don't even realize.
Therapy incoming. Yeah. All right, should we find someone to raid?
Yes.
Okay.
I was getting a bunch of Slack messages and I was like, oh my god, everyone's mad. But actually, it's fine.
Okay, cool.
Actually, they know I'm going to Portugal for a chess tournament.
Yeah.
Yay! Maybe they'll watch your stream, or I guess we'll be streaming together. So.
Yeah. Well, no, they don't know that I stream. They just know that I play chess.
Okay, there's a lot of people on.
Sveta is on. Oh, Farzi's on. Farzi's commentating for us.
Yeah. I mean, at least hopefully he said he would be down if we can't find anyone else for like the 2 a.m. round, but I feel bad at 2 a.m.
Oh, for the ones that we don't have?
Yeah, but I know someone in Europe who will know for sure if they can do it on the 22nd. So I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway,
that's
Frank is also live. But yeah, we could all raid Farzi. That could be fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, he's still commentating like one of our rounds, right?
Yeah. Also, I'm seeing him tonight, so.
Oh.
That's cool. Yeah.
Cool.
He's in Montreal. So.
Actually, I don't know when your flight is, but can we talk about, I don't know, because I'm not in Montreal for very long, but like in case you're there and I'm there.
Okay. Wait. Yeah. When are you? Yeah. Wait. Okay. Send me your thing. Send me your flight.
Send it to you.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, Scott.
Because you're leaving on Wednesday, right?
I'm done after this. I'm gonna go record a podcast.
Nice.
Yay, Dojo podcast. I still have to watch the last one.
Okay, I am ready for the raid.
Okay, yeah, me too.
Likewise.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Okay, bye everyone.
Cool.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great
Awesome.
day. Be back on
Thank
soon.
you, David. Thanks so much for all the our game. Every game I win is thanks to the Endgame Sensei.
Oh yeah.
So, I'd just like to put that out there.
Very
I just
kind.